for me, the personal networking is my life. So I spend most of my time meeting people and sharing knowledge as well as gaining from their benefits, their own knowledge and backgrounds. And obviously the last few months with the pandemic has been a real challenge. I mean, the fundamental one is being so much more authentic and relaxed about who you are. So I'm sure everybody has had a child run across the background of a video conference call, or a dog bark, or even in my case, a dog jump up, pull my reading glasses off, and knock the microphone off the desk, you know. And it just makes you realize that we're dealing with people. We're all human beings. We're all in a very similar situation. And I think actually that's really gratifying, because you start to build much more personal relationships with people that perhaps you have treated as just a business contact, and you maybe thought about it in a slightly more transactional way previously. So I think, you know, one of the big adjustments I've made is being a little more self-confident about just being myself, and worrying less about being the job title or the front of the business. And that's helped actually hugely, because, you know, part of networking is sharing information. It's a two-way thing. And I think being authentic and genuine and just showing your own true colors makes a big difference. It makes it a much more relaxed and pleasurable experience, particularly when you're doing that over a video call all the time, when you're so used to doing it in person. In terms of how networking will change coming out of COVID, and you know which of those changes will stay with us, we're already seeing a change in terms of the use of social media. And that's reflected then in terms of how people connect through social media and then network. So obviously we're not networking face-to-face as much as we used to. But what we're seeing in social media, and this is a good example, is there's far more video content. So we're seeing the space of the vlogger from YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. We're seeing those techniques and that style of communication move over into things like LinkedIn posts and business meetings. And that's quite encouraging, because actually, again, it makes it far more personal, which I think is a huge benefit. But yeah, I think we're going to see some of those changes stick. So I think we'll see a far more use of video in business-to-business social media promotion, contact, and networking. And I think the networking on the back of that will increase in pace in terms of online networking. It has to anyway because of the pandemic. But I think we'll see a large uptake in video networking. And that's about sharing, so it's about groups, it's about knowledge sharing, it's about workshops, it's about sharing opinion, it's about collectively getting together to solve a problem, as opposed to perhaps the more old-fashioned networking concept. So whenever I speak to somebody and they say, oh, you've got a great network, how did you get that network? I say, well, it's not about building it and then having one, it's a continual development process. And it's not that sort of 1980s vision of everybody meeting for lunch, working a room, and then moving on with 20 or 50 business cards in your back pocket. It's about building relationships, and I think it's less is more, and that's going to be any more true when it comes to networking. So I think what we'll see is a massive increase in information, a massive increase in sharing information and collegiate working together through video conferencing, which we're already seeing in that. But I think what we'll see is a need for perhaps less investment in personal relationship building, just to hit the numbers. I think networking isn't about getting in touch with as many people as possible. It's a slow, iterative process of building up quality relationships. So spending less time trying to network and jump into every group, every social media vlog, does not have that much value. And I think what we'll see is people spending more time building little micro communities, and that will be groups sharing information, people working in management and leadership teams and businesses, helping each other solve problems where there's no conflict commercially.